From the gateway to the west, a big USL game with a lot of playoff implications as St. Louis FC hosts Reno FC. This evening's St. Louis FC match is brought to you by the Cheshire St. Louis and LHM. For bookings and more information, visit CheshireSTL.com. Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey here with you. St. Louis FC hosting Reno 1868 FC. Playoff positions on the line as this USL season continues on. The last time these two teams met, Gary, it was physical from the beginning.
It certainly was, and a little bumping heads over here, and then suddenly they all fall down, but they got up again. There was, however, a sending off, a double yellow, and Reno were down to 10 men when this man, Brian Brown, popped up, left foot, smacks it, and a follow-up, keeper can't hold it, and there they go, 1-0 up. Reno at home, but with just the 10 men, and it was going to be a challenge for them to hold on to that lead. Good follow-up there and finish from Reno. But St. Louis, they got back into it, 74th minute, wall fall. Little 1-2, gets in front, uses his body to win the penalty and tucks it in the back of the net, which leads us then, Sean, down to the final minutes. Sam Fink pops up with the winner in the 93rd minute.
Ended Reno's 3-month unbeaten streak right at the death. Here's our Toyota player to watch, Wall Fall.
A lovely strike of a ball. Look at that's a goal. Lasso, absolutely brilliant. Inside of the right foot, power and position. But he's more than that. As we saw a moment or two ago, he can win penalties and he can also score them. There you go, tucking that one away. Once again, using his physical ability to muscle his way into that 6-yard box and get on the end of this cross. So he has everything. He has height, strength, good touch, a little bit of skill as well. Look at that.
Let's take a look now at the Western Conference standing, just showing you how much this one means. St. Louis can get back in with a win. Reno could fall out with a loss or could get even higher in the standings with a win.
Yeah, they could. It's a classic 6-pointer, isn't it? The point's extremely valuable. And St. Louis desperate to get back in that top 8, and Reno would love to get the points and give themselves a little bit of a safety net there. So everything to play for in the match tonight.
Should be a good one. St. Louis and Reno 1868 FC. It was good the last time. How will the sequel live up to the billing here in the gateway to the west? It was rainy earlier. It's heating up as the USL playoffs come ever so closer.
A lottery ticket is so much more than a piece of paper. It's wonder, opportunity, dreams. And not just for players. 100% of the profits from every Missouri lottery ticket you play goes back to schools, teachers, and students. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery.
At Toyota, safety isn't an option, it's standard. So features like lane departure alert and pre-collision system are always included on every single Toyota RAV4. To get similar features on a CR-V, Honda charges over $2,000. They shouldn't, we don't. Tested, trusted Toyota. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan plus roadside assistance. Hurry in today. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to theelectricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
Saturday night.
Cutting onto his right, will strike, and it's in! What an incredible strike from Kadeem Takers, cutting it off that left and doubling St. Louis's lead.
Corey Herzog at the dot, turn, shot, goal! St. Louis up 1-0 in the 5th.
Sean St. Jacques and former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey here with you. St. Louis and Reno FC getting set to do battle here in the gateway to the west. This game means so much for both teams as the playoffs come ever so closer. All these games mean a lot down the stretch. As we take a look at team trends for both teams, St. Louis has been so good at home, Gary, this season, but Reno just as good, if not better, on the road this season.
Yeah, we'll have a look at St. Louis at home. The last 6, 4 wins, 2 draws. Their overall form not as good, but home form absolutely stunning. And Reno on the road, 6, 1 and 7. 1 loss in 14 on the road. Man, that is some streak away from home. So it's set up for a classic encounter tonight. A team that doesn't lose away from home and a team that wins at home.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Schlafly Brewery. We start with the visitors, Reno 1868 FC.
Yeah, a couple of changes, 3 in total. Janjigian comes in at in the sort of centre back position. Kasiplis in as well, and Paul Marie out go Richard Seymour and Weehan. So 3 changes for Reno, and 4 in fact for St. Louis. In Kyle Gregg, great to see him there. Austin Mard, Sam Fink, of course, in defence, and Kareem Dokers, and out go Pollack, Reynolds, Calistri and Cox. So big changes being made there by both managers.
Your Schlafly starting lineups there as the teams take the field. There you see Reno's starting 11 heading out there looking for a little bit of revenge after these two teams met earlier in the season in Reno. We talked about it at the top. St. Louis got a late winner from Sam Fink, who's captaining the side tonight. And of course, with St. Louis on the outside looking in of the top 8 at the moment, this is a big game. There's another look at the standings. It's worth mentioning again how close it is right there, Gary, between 5 and 9. Your whole season on the line. These games really are huge.
Yeah, we mentioned the 6-pointer, and this is a classic one for Reno. They need to get a bit higher in those standings and give themselves a little bit of a safety situation. And for St. Louis, who were in the top 8, it's a case of getting back in there. That's what it's all about at this stage of the season. And Coach Anthony Pulis saying exactly the same. He's picking the best team to get a result. He's taking it one game at a time. His focus solely on being back in the top 8.
There's the German wall fall, who's been so good all season long for St. Louis. St. Louis in their home greens. They will be going from right to left on your screen against Reno 1868 FC. It was raining a lot earlier today. It's gotten pretty cool after the rains have come through, and we are underway from the gateway to the west. St. Louis in 9th in the USL at the moment. Reno in 7th. That ball is deflected out, and it'll be an early goal kick. Kyle Gregg providing the pressure up front, leads the team in goals coming into tonight.
He did brilliant there with a flick on initially and then closing the defenders down, and he will give the home side all sorts of positive ability up front with his strength and his ability to close down, something that Reno will have to keep an eye on.
Ball touched out. Reno will get a throw-in on the near side. He quickly taken by Paul Marie. A little overlapping run from Paul Marie, sliding in there with the challenge, Jordan Morel. And he actually wins the throw for St. Louis. Gary, what are you looking for in the opening minutes of this one?
Well, St. Louis are well known for getting early goals and being able to hold on to the lead. So I'm expecting the home side to put pressure on Reno from the get-go, as they're doing right now. A chance in the middle of the park if he can pass the ball.
Opportunity here. Dikwa showing you his speed, holds the play up. Opportunity to pass the ball in. Switching fields there, Lewis Hilton. Reno able to get back to stop the opportunity from Albert Dikwa in the number 10 shirt tonight, and St. Louis will have to go back and start again playing the possession game. St. Louis has been so good in the first half of games. That's going to be a handball in the middle of the park. On Hopino, leading assist man for Reno, and it'll be a free kick for St. Louis.
Yeah, Hopino, absolutely vital man. 9 assists this season and very, very close to the club record of 12. So certainly one for St. Louis to keep an eye on. But early on, as you mentioned, pressure coming from the home side as expected. And they will put all sorts of balls across the pitch, stretch Reno at every opportunity. And they have an incredible record when they're ahead. I think they've only lost 1 game out of 13 when they've been ahead. But it's reversed when they fall behind. So as far as St. Louis are concerned, the first goal, absolutely crucial.
Zach Carroll To Guy Abend, switching fields. A little bit of pressure from Reno here, and it's going to be forced all the way back. Tomas Gomez played his college soccer at Georgetown. He will send it forward for St. Louis. Gomez, also a St. Louis, Missouri native. Foul in the middle of the park, and St. Louis will have a chance to send this one forward. Dequa again causing problems. It's taken quickly, and it looks like they'll have to retake that. The ball might not have stopped completely before that was taken.
Yeah, Albert Dequa, also a big, strong striker for St. Louis, winning the free kick then. Expect him and Kyle Gregg to cause all sorts of problems for Reno, both in the air and on the ground. So lovely options as far as coach Anthony Pulis is concerned.
We talked to Coach Pulis about the last meeting between these two. You missed at the top. It was a thriller earlier on in the season, back on July 28th. Reno hadn't lost since April. St. Louis won it in the 93rd minute. Sam Fink headed the ball into the back of the net. Had a chance to ask him if his team would adjust to Reno possibly looking for some revenge in this game, and he just said his team trying to stay cool, calm, and collected just like any other game. But of course, with the postseason standings very fluid at the moment. Of course, this game as important as any, as it'll be a corner kick for St. Louis. They'll be taking it on the near side here. For every goal scored by St. Louis FC off a corner kick, Electro Savings will be donating $100 to a St. Louis charity. First corner kick of the match.
Yep, early pressure from St. Louis as expected, and look out for the big guys, Sam Fink included. Having scored the winner away from home, I'm sure he'd be delighted to get his name on the score sheet at home.
Be taken near side, and it'll go right into the goalkeeper, JT Marcinkowski, who gobbles it up and will look to reset, kind of shovels it out there. And here come Reno 1868 FC. Not a bad ball in behind. Looking for Brian Brown. Brown pressures, but Paul Marie is able to keep it in control for, Tony Walls for St. Louis.
Yeah, Brian Brown, of course, the big danger man as far as St. Louis are concerned. Fantastic scorer of goals and leading goal scorer at the moment, and in the top 6 in the whole of the USL. So if you are a St. Louis defender, he is the first man you'll be looking for, because he's probably your biggest threat.
Brian Brown scored in the 1-1 draw last time out against Fresno. Last time out for St. Louis, a 1-0 loss to Portland Timbers 2. Talked about it, how that win over Reno really sparked St. Louis forward, but at the tail end, they have struggled a bit, trying to refine that form after the late winner at Reno. We talked about it also earlier. Reno with only one road loss all season long, and that came where a lot of teams seem to lose, at Real Monarchs.
Yeah, St. Louis, the last 4 games, the last 5 games, I think just the 1 win. That's crucial at this stage of the season. They've got to get back onto winning ways. And with Kyle Gregg, their top goal scorer, and also in the top sort of 6 or 7 in the USL, they have a fantastic outlet and someone who can grab the opportunity. So looking early on for 2 top goal scorers, 1 in each team, to rattle the back of the net, hopefully. And certainly for the neutrals, we want plenty of goals.
Here's Marie trying to scamper his way through. Still has the ball for Reno. Ball sent out wide. Centering pass. Thought about briefly a shot there. Near side, Hopino looks to cross it into the middle. Sam Fink is there to clear the lines. Headed back in by Zach Carroll for Reno. St. Louis have not quite cleared it, but Reno will reset back at midfield. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Receive free shipping on offers over $50.
Building out nicely from the back. Reno just getting used to the ball as you do. Knock it around, get a touch, get comfortable on the ball. but with 1 win in the last 6, their form isn't exactly the best. Yes, fantastic away from home, but if you're looking at recent form, not the best. They had a fantastic 5-win run before that, but it's all about form going in to the end of the season and making sure that you get in the top 8. Going back in the season, though, the 16-match unbeaten run was something super special by Reno, so they're probably wishing they could pick that up just where they left off.
That run lasted 3 months, 16 matches, and just because we can, 105 days without a loss. And when St. Louis was able to come back and win that game, as you can see, the St. Louis pressure continues, and it forces an errant pass and a throw-in. It really, at least overall over that 6-game stretch for both teams, really changed the directions for both teams in the season. Reno as high as 3rd place in the Western Conference during that 16-game run. Since then, Reno has dropped to 7th. St. Louis, despite those 4 wins during the stretch, are still out of the playoffs at the moment in 9th. But of course, that's why this game is so important tonight in the rematch. Just the 2nd time these two teams have ever played, and of course, trying to get back into the top 8 for St. Louis right now. Positive goal differential always helps, but right now a point behind San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about getting in the top 8, and I'm sure fans from both sides are recalling the better spells they've had. They know how good Reno were, especially in that 16-match unbeaten run. And St. Louis fans know how good their side is and how fantastic Kyle Gregg up front is at scoring goals. So from that point of view, thinking positive, trying to, get their team into that top 8, and Anthony Pulis certainly knows that it's crucial. Having had so many good games, he wants to get over the bad ones and get himself in that top 8. Otherwise, what's the season all about if you can't get into the playoffs?
Tony Walls will come over and take the throw-in for St. Louis. Might be able to hear the wind is picking up at the Toyota Stadium. Of course, the rain's coming through St. Louis and a lot of parts of the United States at different points during the day today. It's good to see that we were able to get the kickoff on time, as that's going to go out. Actually, it's going to be offside on the far side against Brian Brown. And an opportunity for St. Louis to clear their lines. And Gary, early on, first 10 minutes, I think the story so far has been St. Louis's pressure, and it has led to some mistakes from Reno, and maybe could set up an opportunity for them on the counter later on in the game at some point.
Yeah, decent pressure. It's what you would have expected from a home side. But they've been so good at getting goals in the first half and holding on to them and winning games, St. Louis. So the breakthrough, crucial, and Kyle Gregg again challenging for the high ball. He's a fantastic outlet for them because you can play it to his feet or you can play it in the air. But it's all about goals at this stage of the season. You can talk about pretty football and possession and opportunities, and at the end of the day, have you got the 3 points in the bag and are you in the top 8?
Duke Lacroix took the throw-in for Reno. Near side, Paul Marie controls for 1868 FC. USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter. Culbertson will throw it in on the near side for St. Louis. Nice idea, flicking it forward. Did take a deflection. It'll stay with St. Louis on the near side. Dequa will leave off the throw. Kyle Culbertson will come down to take it.
Kyle Gregg so good there, coming forward to help out, and he turns and gets back in the box. Now he's expecting a cross. He wants the cross. Let's see if he gets it.
Culbertson's looking for him, and he's going to shoot that one over everything and out for a goal kick. Not a bad idea, though. That's the idea for St. Louis.
Yeah, but if you're Kyle Gregg, you're looking at Culbertson and saying, do me a favor, can you not put it on my head? Give me a chance to score, because it's no good putting it behind the goal line.
Ball sent forward in behind. Nice job by Sam Fink to not take any chances. It's out for a throw-in for Reno. It was physical the last time these two teams met. A little bit of physicality there. Won by St. Louis. Opportunity to counter. A little bit of miscommunication there, as Dequa and Kyle Gregg both kind of left the ball for each other, but it's out for a St. Louis throw.
There you go, Carl Gregg again coming forward and trying to help. A lot of attacks coming on the left-hand side for St. Louis there. Culbertson, a good outlet for them. And they're trying to find a way past this Reno defense. But, you know, Reno, as we said before, top-class side as the throwing goes to St. Louis. Won't be easy to break them down. But somehow I've just got this feeling that Carl Gregg always pops up with something for St. Louis at home.
He's able to win that throw-in for his side on the near side. Here's Wall Fall. Haven't called his name too much yet. It's still very early on, of course. 13 minutes gone. No clear-cut, not really even close to clear-cut chances as of yet. Both teams kind of still feeling each other out at the start. Pressure here from Reno. Brian Brown putting the pressure on. And still, Tomas Gomez clears it upfield. And it flicked on to stay in. St. Louis do get it back. Options going forward, looking for Dikwa. And Reno will send it all the way back to JT Marcinkowski, who will clear for Reno. Fink's header back forward. And it looks like a free kick for St. Louis.
Yeah, push. Was it a push in the back? But it's a good position for a free kick, and with good headers of the ball in the box there, especially the likes of Dikwa and Gregg, you would expect St. Louis fans to be getting excited at this moment at the possibility of a breakthrough against Reno.
We saw Wall Fall's magnificent strike in the pre. A little surprised, but you talked about it, Gary. He can get in and score with his head as well, which might be why he's not over this one.
Yeah, that was a little bit close. That was probably from 22 yards. This is more like 30, but Lewis Hilton with the ball and a dangerous one.
They're looking for Wall Fall, and it's headed right to JT Marcinkowski. They were looking for the German right on cue, and his header just didn't have enough power behind it. First good chance of the half for either side, and here comes Reno.
Yeah, it was a good chance as well. I mean, he's got there, Wall Fall. If he just gets a bit more of a contact from 5 or 6 yards out, that's a goal. So what a good ball in there from Lewis Hilton, and a little bit of a chance and a bit of an excitement there for St. Louis fans.
Now Reno a little bit with some pressure. Up the field it goes. Dikwa stepped in. It's going to be a free kick for Reno. There was a foul in there, I believe, against Austin Martz before Dikwa ran onto it. Marie near side trying to play some give and go. It's out for another Reno throw-in. And they're going to have Reno move up a little bit to take this one. Opano. Sent all the way back to Marcinkowski. Not all the way back. Still controlled at the back by Reno.
Yeah, Reno just taking the sting out of it at this stage. It all seems to be a little bit more calmer for them, and that's where you want it when you're the away side. You've got to sort of get everything under control. You know, it's a home crowd that's behind their team, and that just seems to be what Reno are doing at this stage. Just getting a nice touch of the ball, nice feel for it, and eventually they'll start launching more of their own attacks. But they've taken the sting out of the game. First 15 minutes always the most difficult when you're away from home, as well as the last 15. So half the job done, you would say, then for Reno.
Fink heads it out. It's controlled by Kasipli, but now back with St. Louis. The field looking for Gregg. He runs onto it. Got a piece, went down. Nothing given. Marcinkowski controls. Still with Reno, will continue to control it at the back. Watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. Sean St. Jacques, former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, here with you. Scoreless, about 17 minutes gone between St. Louis and Reno. Such a big game as far as playoff implications as we are getting closer and closer to the stretch run in the USL playoffs.
Oh, good little bit of skill.
Lovely to get past one, get past two, still with a chance. Shot on the left foot, right at JT Marcinkowski. Lovely piece of skill to dodge and get through a number of defenders by Kadeem Dakers just couldn't find the target, or rather, couldn't find a way around JT Marcinkowski.
Yeah, it was a lovely little bit of skill from Kadeem there, and he is one of those players who has the ability to break down defenses, and I expect to see more of him as the match goes on. Maybe we can get to see it again, because he's got such lovely skills, and that's what St. Louis can bring to the party. They've got players up front who can open up opportunities, as, by the way, have Reno with the likes of Brian Brown, who's looking for a little bit more service, hasn't had much in the match so far.
Ball sent forward on the near side. Marie controls for Reno. Gets it back from Hopino. And then a little bit of a miscommunication will go all the way through to Tomas Gomez for St. Louis.
The keeper with a bit of a battle against Jake Finlayson, both very, very good goalkeepers, and sometimes it works well that the one inspires the other to even greater performances, and that suits coach Anthony Pulis, that he has a goalkeeper being pushed to his limit every single game. And that's why they, one of the reasons anyway, why they have such a good defensive record, St. Louis. Good goalkeepers.
Talked about how important the first goal could possibly be in this game. There's a collision on the far side. Free kick for St. Louis. Kadeem Dakers is still down, and I believe that... Oh, did the ref go into his book there?
I think he did. I think he pulled out a card. We can't see, but certainly there was solid contact and very late.
Looks like he absolutely did. Kadeem Dakers is still down. A Reno player has been booked for the challenge.
Yeah, he did well, Dakers, to get the ball away there. Heads it on, but then the knee in the stomach. That's a dangerous, dangerous foul. It wasn't meant, of course, but that, if it was meant, it would have been a red. But it's a yellow card for a clumsy tackle, and one that has caused Dakers some pain.
Jordan Murrell has been put into the book for Reno 1868 FC. Not only clumsy, but on top of that, a late challenge. And Kadeem Dakers, who has already shown signs of quality and skill coming through on that right side.
Well, obviously it means Murrell has to be extremely careful now. One yellow, one more and you're off. And we saw when these two teams met last time that Reno were down to 10 men. So they don't want to go down that road a second time.
Last time these two teams met, we talked about how important the first goal is. This season, St. Louis won 7-4 when conceding first. That one win was against Reno, that game they played last time. That's their only one when they've conceded and then come back to win. Looking in the middle for Wallfall, his header. Griggs' header back into the middle. It just sat there for a moment. Nobody got to it for St. Louis. And it's out for a Reno throw-in. I'm not sure who that deflected off of. St. Louis wondering who that last hit off of before it went out of play. Culbertson thinking that it's a St. Louis throw. Reno just hoping to alleviate some of the pressure. Nobody got to that ball off of Griggs' header back in. And St. Louis will get it back. Fink looking to get it back in. Not a good touch there. It falls right to Wallfall. But back with Reno, who can try to alleviate some more of this St. Louis pressure. Maybe a counterattack in the offing. Opportunity to get the ball into the box for Brown, who got a touch, but it'll roll harmlessly back to Gomez.
You're talking about stats, St. Louis, when they concede first. How about when they score first? 9-1-3. One loss in 13 when they score first. So again, it's why they'll be looking to get that breakthrough goal and why they have been so good at home. They score first, they hold on to it, they've got a tight defense. Very difficult to break down.
Flicked header forward by Greg. Run onto by Dequa. The pressure forces it out for a St. Louis throw-in on the far side. Maybe an opportunity to get this inside the 18-yard box. Tony Walls will take it. He'll get it right back, but it did go out of play. And Reno will get the throw-in. Not the best touch. Getting it right back to Walls, who could not keep it in play.
You can see there's a high pressure line here by St. Louis. Look at the number of green shirts that are putting pressure on Reno as they get the ball. And it means if you do turn the ball over, you turn it over in Reno half. And that causes all sorts of pressure for the visiting team. So that's how St. Louis are playing it at the moment. A high pressure game that could produce results.
Greg in behind. Ooh, not a good touch there. Out for a corner kick for St. Louis. A Electro Savings corner kick. Second of the game for St. Louis. This time it'll be on the far side.
Zach Carroll just losing his footing there as he was trying to stop Carl Gregg, and concedes the free kick. Once again, set pieces such as this, not free kick, corner kick, set pieces such as this can be a danger if it's a good service into the box.
This looks like it'll be a lefty in-swinger. Culberson will take it. Right there, an opportunity. The header is just wide. Golden opportunity right in the 6-yard box. Fink was right in the area, the man who scored the winner the last 2 times these teams met in 90 plus 3 added minutes stoppage time. That time just a fraction away. I think without pressure there from JT Marcinkowski, that might have been the opening goal.
Yeah, he did well, Fink, to get in front of the goalkeeper and create that opportunity. The keeper, as you say, just doing enough to put him off there. But a good corner, well directed, and into that sort of corridor of uncertainty area between goalkeeper and defenders, and no one knows whose ball it really is. So good move, and here's another good move. Oh, just a little bit too long.
Good idea from Lewis Hilton, looking for Albert Dico, who appreciates the service into the 18-yard box. Seems like St. Louis obviously more comfortable at home, Gary, but now you're really starting to see them grow more and more into this game.
Yeah, they must feel something totally different at home to have the good record they do at home and to struggle as they have away from home. But that's common with a lot of teams. I mean, everyone's home record, almost without doubt, anywhere in the world is better than their away record. It's just a familiarity, and it's amazing how the mind, there's no other advantage, there's no physical advantage to playing home. It's just a sense of comfort and having a home crowd to cheer you on. But it certainly works well for St. Louis. They've got the St. Louis Luligans that support them, and they're great fun, and must be wonderful to play in front of them.
Saw a couple of shots earlier. They're a little bundled up, the Luligans, today. It's a little chilly in St. Louis as kickoff came around after the rain showers earlier on today. But as you can tell, a lot of fans know how important this one is. They've shown up regardless of the possible weather conditions here tonight, and they've definitely been pretty loud so far in this one. That's out for another Reno throw-in on the near side. A few wearing some sweatshirts. Fall, sadly, I guess you could say, just around the corner. Temperatures dropping into the 60s tonight at Toyota Stadium in St. Louis. Good challenge there. Out for a throw-in for Reno.
Yeah, again, that high press from St. Louis, plenty of green shirts in the Reno half, not letting them play out. And to be fair, Brian Brown hasn't had too much service, and he's the one player that St. Louis are really worried about, and they've managed to keep the ball away from him so far for most of this first half.
Fall will send it all the way back to Tomas Gomez in net for St. Louis.
For Carl Gregg, that long ball, and he's in.
He does get in. Opportunity knocks, and it's saved by JT Marcinkowski. Best chance of the first half. The leading goal scorer for St. Louis just couldn't find the back of the net.
Wow, what a chance for Carl Gregg. He lives off those opportunities. One long ball from defense. He turns the central defender and has a chance to beat the keeper, but Marcinkowski coming up good. Let's have a look at it again. Some poor defending, but Carl Gregg so quick to grab the opportunity, and he's got time to set himself. Can't finish it off.
JT Marcinkowski had a career-high 7 saves in the 1-1 draw with Fresno last time out for Reno. That's a huge save for Reno 1868 FC. Just showing you how good St. Louis has been. Certainly the better opportunities. Here's another one. Great turn, great shot, great finish. There's the opening goal. Kyle Gregg continues to score big goals for St. Louis. And fittingly, the home team strikes first. It's 1-0 St. Louis.
Brilliant goal there from Kyle Gregg. We said he was a danger, that he might be the man to get the breakthrough, and he has done. That ability to turn quickly and finish it off, absolutely superb. Fans love it, and I think credit also there to Austin Martz for getting a decent ball into the box. But this man, Kyle Gregg, can't stop scoring. There's Austin Martz. He gets past his man with a bit of speed, but the turn and the volley, absolutely top class. No wonder he's one of the top goal scorers in the USL.
12th of the season for Kyle Gregg. And like you said, Gary, a touch of class on the turn and the volley into the top part of the net. And St. Louis, we talked about how important the first goal is for them. They've got the early lead in this game, as that goal here, replay of the St. Louis FC goal delivered by Domino's, and fittingly, the leading goal scorer for St. Louis, Kyle Gregg. 1-0. St. Louis in this one on a lovely strike.
It is, and of course we know their stats at when they score first. What is it again? You got it written down. It's something like 1 loss out of 13 when they've scored first.
9 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws.
1 out of 13, and so they must be very confident, the players and the fans of St. Louis, that they're in a great position and they don't give it up from now. And you'll see why. The pressure they apply, the hard work, they make it very difficult for you to score against them.
Here's Brian Brown, leading goal scorer for Reno. He thought he got a touch off of the St. Louis defender. It's out for a goal kick for St. Louis. Did also want to note that Kyle Gregg did get issued a yellow card for his celebration, putting the shirt up above his head.
Yep.
And he is in the book. That is the second player, first for St. Louis to be booked.
It's I'm just wondering why players still do that, because you know you're going to get a yellow. That just means if Kyle Gregg just misjudges a tackle, gets a second yellow, he's off. Why would you put yourself in that situation? Think of any other way to celebrate. Jump up and down, do a handstand, whatever you want to do. Don't take your shirt off.
It's also worth mentioning, it is a little chilly, and not sure, maybe, could have went over, maybe borrowed a coat from a fan to warm up after the, the goal.
Anything, but not taking your shirt
Absolutely.
off. And as a manager, it drives you nuts, because now Kyle Gregg is going to be thinking, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't tackle in case I mistime it. So then he stops tackling. Then you lose your first line of defense. Your first line of defense are your attackers. They stop the opposition coming forward. Now one of them can't tackle. So it's silly, and it just takes a little edge of what was a fantastic goal from a great player in the USL. But let's hope, for his sake, he doesn't do anything silly and he doesn't get the second yellow.
Talked about, again, just to finish the point on the first goal, Reno this season 2 wins, 4 losses, and 4 draws when conceding first, and now they concede a free kick. I believe Zach Carroll with the challenge against Albert Dikwa.
Yep, they're a handful, Dikwa and Gregg up front, physical, but they're quick and they're skillful as well, and that's what gives you a nightmare when you're a centre-back. If they're just big when they're slow, then you can deal with them physically. But if they've got everything, and you don't know whether to stand off them because they're quick or get close because you want to be physical, it's not an easy situation for these Reno 1868 defenders against the strike force of Dikwa and Gregg.
Culbertson on the right and Lewis Hilton to the left of this ball, both over this free kick. In the 32nd minute here, St. Louis with the 1-0 lead. Culbertson will send this in. Lovely weighted ball. It's headed down. Fall tried to get to it. It's deflected. Dikwa on his left foot. It's blocked out. And it will be a corner kick for St. Louis.
Bit of a scramble there, wasn't it? A high ball. It's lofted. It's got time on a keeper. Can't comfort. A whole bunch of heads go up. A little bit slow to get rid of the ball. And Dikwa very, very quick to pounce on it. Well blocked by the defender.
Another Electro Savings corner kick. Same 2 guys, Culbertson and Hilton. Hilton will whip this in, near side, near post, headed down. And Reno this time are able to clear it only as far Oh, now they clear it out of play for a St. Louis throw on the near side. Culbertson will take it.
Worrying spell for Reno fans at this stage, I would think, because they've been under quite a bit of pressure. 1-0 down. Haven't seen Reno give Thomas Gomez too much to do. And if you're a Reno fan, you're probably thinking, we don't want to lose this and find ourselves on the edge of going out of the top 8. So a crucial time for Reno to get themselves into this game.
Tikwa and Gregg putting on more pressure. Reno frantically clearing it. Wall little falling back heel to try to hold on to it. Someone trying to gain possession. Now a tough challenge in the middle there between Kasipli and Fall. And it's going to go all the way back to Gomez. Looking for Gregg. And Gregg draws the foul just on the St. Louis side of midfield.
Does so well like that, Kyle Gregg, because he just slows everything down, allows the Greens to get themselves on the ball and start attacking again. And it's just Kyle Gregg's timing in the air, which is so good.
Martz putting the pressure on. Hopino, ooh, lovely turn. Almost a second. It's won back by Martz. Holding up play, Tikwa on the near side. Little step over, looking for the cross. It comes in, nobody quite there at the back post. It goes out anyway, and it'll be a goal kick.
So close to being a great cross, but it just drifts away. Doesn't give anyone in the box a chance to get on the end of it. But great skills there from Tikwa. Lovely pace, and nearly puts in a good cross. But again, it's St. Louis doing the attacking. It's St. Louis creating the opportunities. I'm not seeing too much coming from Reno at this stage.
Be sure to visit one of the 7 local St. Louis area Toyota dealers. We're here at Toyota Stadium. St. Louis on top by 1-0. Kyle Gregg with the lovely finish on the turn and on the volley.
Who else would it be but Kyle Gregg, top goal scorer for St. Louis, and the man they always look to do breakthrough. Sometimes it's Corey Herzog who plays, and he's also a fantastic striker. They have an abundance of riches up front, St. Louis. But somehow it's always Kyle Gregg who gets the most crucial of goals.
His pass is picked off. Kadeem Dakers, who we've seen show some speed and skill. Lovely challenge in there, though, to win it back by Jordan Merle on a yellow card, no less. And now a free kick is going to go Reno's way. They take it quickly and have to put it back to the spot where the foul was actually committed.
Too quickly. They took it. Yeah, some referees are picky about that, and you've got to put it on the spot. Others just let it flow. But now I'm looking at Reno and thinking 10 minutes or so before half time, you need to get yourself back in the game. And the best way to do that is to find Brian Brown and give him some decent service, which hasn't happened in the game. So into midfield, turn and look for Brian Brown would be the modus operandi, and not to give it away to the opposition.
Brian Brown's goal scoring record, not only for this season, but of late has been fantastic. 4 goals in his last 4 matches for Reno. He's also 3 goals away from passing the Jamaican Dane Kelly to become Reno's all-time leading goal scorer. And this is coming from a guy that scored just 3 goals last season and now has 13 and is still in the mix for the USL Golden Boot.
Well, he'll be closer in the mix should he score today. And that's what his teammates will be wanting him to do. But in fairness to Reno, St. Louis haven't given them much space to come forward. They've closed them down. There's a lot of green shirts in that Reno half. It's been a high press. And I mean, it takes a lot of effort. But St. Louis at home seem able to put in that effort and make it so difficult for you to play against them. So credit the home side for making it almost impossible for Brian Brown to get the ball, up until now, that is.
Haven't called his name very much, like you said, Gary, tonight, as that's out for a St. Louis throw, and they'll take it quickly. Dakers trying to get onto it. Cleared up. Wall Fall looks to switch fields. Here's Sam Fink. Over to Kyle Culbertson. Going to send it in for Kyle Gregg. I believe that was last off of Gregg. Shielded out by Marie.
Well, Martz there chasing the ball.
And it's actually going to be a corner kick. I think Reno were a little surprised. It'll be another Electro Savings corner kick for St. Louis. Paul Marie thought that, you rightly said, Gary, Austin Martz got the last touch onto that. But St. Louis will get yet another corner kick. Here's the other look. Ooh, and not only did he touch it, he very well may have handled it. Here's the opportunity from that. Dakers heads it back into trouble, and Reno clear. Here's Martz trying to send it back into the 18-yard box. Reno trying to clear their lines here, and now Hilton will try to service it back in. Service is pretty good. Swing and a miss there. Chance to service into the box. It's miss-hit. It looks like Paul Marie will win that race and win a throw-in for Reno. A little bit of a wild sequence there.
It was. Reno very lucky. Poor clearance in the box, and I think it was Kadeem Dakers, was it, with the cross? It wasn't a good cross. It could easily have punished Reno there, but they get away with it. And if it all started with a handball, then maybe it's the right thing, because it shouldn't have been a corner in the first place. So everybody happy, and the game continues.
Funny how it balances out sometimes on its own. St. Louis do get a throw-in with Kyle Culbertson on the near side. Here's Wall Fall. Captain Sam Fink sending it forward, chested down. Marie looking to send it forward. Fink cuts it out. Hilton to Martz. Austin Martz. A lot of open space to run there. Good job backtracking, though, by Seth Kasipli. And in the end, Reno will be able to control and try to outlet it out here to the near side to Antoine Hoppeneau. Continues his run, cuts it back. Opportunity to cross this in. Not too many bodies to aim at for Reno. They still control it. Hoppeneau. Pass looking to send a player out wide. It was deflected by Dakers. Fall trying to win it back for St. Louis. Reno continue to hold on to possession. Kasipli will send it all the way back.
This is one of the rare occasions we've actually seen Reno getting all their players into the St. Louis half. It's been a difficult last 20 minutes, conceding the goal and dealing with a lot of pressure and corner kicks. And at last, Reno fans can say, hey, what about us? Can we maybe put some pressure on Thomas Gomez and see if we can get back on equal terms?
Far side, Reno trying to move forward with it. Took a couple of deflections through there. Tried to shield it out there. I believe that was Fanuel Kavita, but it's still with Reno. A bend near side to Paul Marie. We've seen with a lot of possession for Reno on this near side when they've had it. Zach Carroll. Near side, Gaia Bend looking for it.
It's interesting to note that when St. Louis don't have the ball, they concede all possession. They haven't even crossed the halfway line looking to pressure Reno.
Using the outside of the boot, Marie. Cross coming into the middle. Brown is there, he just missed the header. And here's a chance for Austin Martz. That took a deflection off a Reno player. It does stay in, though, for a bend. Take a look there. That tells the story of the first half.
It certainly does.
6 shots, none for Reno.
Yeah. They haven't done anything near enough, Reno, in terms of attack. It's one of the few occasions we've seen them in the St. Louis half. And that's all you need to know as a coach. 0 shots on target. It means you're not doing enough. And rarely do you come away with anything when you don't have a shot on target. And certainly if you're 1-0 down, you'll need to do much better in the second half. So I think that's the story for Reno. The first half hasn't been a bad one. It just hasn't been a good one. And they can certainly improve and look to get back in this game second half.
St. Louis won a free kick. They took it quickly. Hoppeneau tried to win the challenge. It was handled by Dikwa. And that was taken maybe a little bit too quickly. St. Louis pick off the pass. Lovely pass there by Wall Fall. Trying to get it forward for Greg, who scored the only goal so far tonight. Hoppeneau trying to turn for Reno. It's cut out. Dakers runs onto it, but it's Marie who gets it all the way back to Marcinkowski. Fink wins the header. Went up on the final 3 minutes of this first half. Really has been all St. Louis so far. And you could go in saying, yeah, you're up 1-0. You could feel pretty happy about that. St. Louis did have 1 or 2 other chances, pretty good ones, to extend the lead.
Yep, certainly did. And the old classic saying is you don't want to regret missing them, and obviously they will do if Reno get themselves back in the match. But you've got to be happy if you're St. Louis and you're Anthony Pulis, the coach, because it has been a dominant first half. You've got the crucial goal. You've come close to getting a second, and they haven't bothered your keeper at all. So you've ticked all the boxes first half. The question is you've got to go out the second half and tick all the boxes all over again. And for Reno, it's exactly the opposite. You know, right off the first half, you're only 1 down. Come out second half and come alive, have a go, get the ball in the box, give it and get it to Brian Brown and Hupano and try and put some pressure on St. Louis. And I think you'll see a different Reno in the second half.
It's worth mentioning that, talk about how good of a first half team St. Louis has been. A lot of the damage for Reno has been in the second half this season. They're tied for 6th in the USL with 28 second half goals coming into tonight. 2nd in the West with 26 road goals as well. And talk about second half road goals as well. They're tied at the top with 16 of those as well. So this game far from over, even with those stats aside. Of course, the middle of the playoff race as well.
Well, every reason to make sure that you watch the second half, because it could all come to light there as Reno have a bash at St. Louis, and St. Louis try and keep their fantastic home record going.
And if the last meeting between these two teams is any indication, you might want to stick around to the very end.
Well, besides the fact it was an incredible ending with the Sam Fink goal, there was a red card there, and we've had a couple of yellows already. So, I mean, I hope I don't see a red. I never like to see the red. All I'm saying is there certainly is the potential for a physical clash in the second half. So lots to look forward to in this match, and we do have 1 goal already.
With that in mind, Kyle Gregg for St. Louis and Jordan Morel for Reno each have been booked in this first half. Morel with a really late and dangerous challenge on Kadeem Dakers earlier in the first half, and Kyle Gregg for lifting his shirt over his head after scoring the opening goal. There's the confirmation of 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half. Dangerous pass back to the goalkeeper. Marcinkowski cleans up the mess.
Good pressure there again from St. Louis, putting the, creating problems for the defender, then missed passes to the goalkeeper and all sorts of threats. And that's what they've been good at in this first half, St. Louis. Pressure everywhere. Now have a look what they do. They drop almost everybody back into their half, and they just defend and say, all right, we don't mind if you have the ball in your half. You can't hurt us. You can look as pretty and as good a footballing team as you want, but the moment you come into our half, we're going to put you under pressure. So they have these 2 systems, one of a high press and then one of dropping deep when the opposition have the ball.
Final 15 seconds of this first half. Marie swings that ball in. Tomas Gomez
lies down. I don't think he needs a rest. I've got a funny feeling he hasn't had too much to do this first half, Tomas Gomez.
Probably could have stayed in that position the whole half, the way things have been going. And the first half ends here at Toyota Stadium in St. Louis. Kyle Gregg's goal separates the sides at the break. The Hollywood Casino halftime report is upcoming. 12th goal of the season for Kyle Gregg. That separates the sides at the moment, and it is 1-0 here in St. Louis. Been physical at times in this first half, but it's been all St. Louis really in this first half so far, putting the pressure on, leading to the goal from Kyle Gregg. The home side leads at the break. The Hollywood Casino halftime report is next.
So features like lane departure alert and pre-collision system are always included on every single Toyota RAV4. To get similar features on a CR-V, Honda charges over $2,000. They shouldn't, we don't. Tested, trusted Toyota. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan plus roadside assistance. Hurry in today. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino, St. Louis.
Oh, it's Saturday night.
Cutting onto his right will strike, and it's in! What an incredible strike from Kickoff cutting it off that left and doubling St. Louis's lead.
Corey Herzog at the dot, turn, shot, goal! St. Louis up 1-0 in the fifth.
Welcome back to the Hollywood Casino Halftime Report here in St. Louis. The experience of attending St. Louis FC matches is unique to each fan. For season ticket member Jimmy Gravity, it's all about hamburgers, french fries, and smoke bombs. He explains in tonight's edition of our season ticket member spotlight. Take a look.
My name's Jimmy Gravity. This is my store, J Gravity Strings. We buy, sell, and trade guitars and amplifiers, mandolins, banjos, stringed instruments. We've been in this location for 31 years and hope to end it at this place here. Probably have repaired over 60, 70,000 guitars. I used to play in a band and wound up fixing everybody's guitars that played in a band, and so I thought, well, maybe that's something I could do, and wound up doing it on the side, kind of self-taught. And have learned by quite a few mistakes. No, that probably wouldn't be what he's looking for. That would be more 70s. Too many to mention, but at least if I learn something from it, then I can go to the next one and I won't make that mistake again. Stopped at Hampton and what was it, Highway 44, and looked up, and there was a billboard with the St. Louis football soccer club up there. So, so I called out and got the season tickets, and man, the tickets are absolutely reasonable. Parking's reasonable. To me, it's the best bang for your buck. Going to the game is always exciting, if nothing else for the hamburgers and the french fries, but just to watch those Luligans that are in the end zone, they really perk me up. It's always fun to see those flares go off after we score the goal. Good luck, boys. Keep winning, and go STLFC.
Let's take a look at what's coming up for St. Louis FC, and they start out with the Real Monarchs on Wednesday. Really tough game, 9 p.m. Central.
Yeah, they're a very good side. That's why they're top of the league. They score all the time. This goal coming up from Ledesma, and St. Louis will have to be on their best if they're going to get anything out of the Real Monarchs.
That game's going to be on ESPN3. It's going to be a really tough test for St. Louis to begin a really tough stretch in general against some of the top teams in the West.
Wow, that is a difficult stretch. I mean, away at top of the table, Real Monarchs at home to Swope Park Rangers, who are 6th and fighting for that top 8 place themselves. San Antonio are 8th. They're right on the edge. That's a huge 6-pointer. And then away at Phoenix, rising 2nd place and full of superstars. And maybe a breather against Tulsa Roughnecks at the very end of those 4 tough games.
That Tulsa game, a makeup of a game earlier this season. They're actually going to kick that one off in the 8th minute. Interesting to see how those two teams adjust to that. Here's the Western Conference standings. Every game at this point very important. St. Louis trying to get back into a playoff spot.
Yeah, you're right about every game being important. I mean, a couple of points St. Louis are up there next to San Antonio, perhaps level with Reno 1868. If they start losing, they go back down, and it gets even more difficult to make the top 8. So this is real crunch time as far as St. Louis are concerned.
Now let's take a look at all the good stuff from the last week in the USL.
See it here as maybe another potential chance for the Rangers. Long range shot, incredible save. Ball knocked over the top. What a touch! Guzman! What a delivery. Header, tipped over the bar. What a save. It's Kuzane. Oh! Sensational! Handball. Jay Bolt saved by Ranjitsingh. Lance Lang! And it's saved by Crepeau. Are you kidding me? Antoine Opino! Tina kick save by Spencer Richards. Tina, a left-footed shot. Oh, wonder goal from Jesse Daly.
Headed towards Vega. Did he hold it out? Somehow Daniel Vega holds it out.
Dennis can hit from this range. Aaron Dennis. Cross header towards the goal. It's Dejas punches it over the top to save the lead. Fernando Adi over to his left foot. Fernando Adi, his first goal in Cincinnati. Chambers, he's going to hit it. And Pizer tips it over the bar. The outswinger and volleyed in for a goal.
The defense, Lasser 1v1 versus Kuati, who makes a beautiful save.
Enriquez on his right. Skundrich, what a save from Pizer.
Diving stop by Gomez.
And a goal!
What a finish.
Saved by Weaker. Calistri, and it's in. And a goal! Chandler Hoffman, that's a goal by Michael.
Big save, Connor Sparrow. Save, Fennelson.
Is going to be on every highlight reel.
Let's take a look at the USL Game of the Week schedule. We've been talking about Real against St. Louis on ESPN3 this Wednesday. It's going to be 9 p.m. Central. That's a huge game. Gary, any other games here that you like that stand out?
Yeah, well, it's important time for Nashville. They're up against Tampa Bay Rowdies, who are 13th. So, you know, points vital there. Nashville sitting in 8th spot, so right on the edge there, just inside the playoff zone. And Atlanta, too, they're done in 15th. So you would, if you're Nashville, you think, wow, those are 2 matches we can really take home some most needed points. And of course, Phoenix is looking to get to that top spot. Would fancy them against Las Vegas, although Las Vegas Lights can play some really great football at times. But Phoenix, such a strong team. So great games, plenty of them.
Also in the Western Conference in general, Portland hosting Tulsa on Sunday. Again, that's a big game as well. How about Swope Park against Fresno as well?
Yeah, Fresno is sitting 11th, but, you know, winning that match and suddenly they're right on the edge of making the top 8. So, absolutely crucial for them. And the bottom one, OKC Energy, right next to Fresno. And once again, same applies. If they get 3 points away at LA Galaxy 2, and then they can look at the top 8 and go, hey guys, we're not too far off, just one or more 2 wins and we're in there.
Real Monarchs St. Louis FC on ESPN3, definitely a must watch. Here's some USL news and notes. Hartford hires their head coach, taking one step closer to getting into the USL next season. Big for them. And how about that Memphis logo they revealed earlier this week as well, with the area code shining bright?
Hey, it is shining bright. You can't miss that. There's lots of lovely colors, area code thrown in, and now the lights are shining for Memphis.
And for the USL as well, as the league continues to grow. Great stuff there as well. Coming up next on the Hollywood Casino halftime, first half highlights and stats, and as well as the kickoff.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
A lottery ticket is so much more than a piece of paper. It's wonder, opportunity, dreams. And not just for players. 100% of the profits from every Missouri Lottery ticket you play goes back to schools, teachers, and students. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce. Your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
Oh, it's Saturday night.
Cutting onto his right will strike, and it's in! What an incredible strike from Kadeem Dakers, cutting it off that left and doubling St. Louis's lead.
Corey Herzog at the dot, turn, shot, goal! St. Louis up 1-0 in the fifth.
Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey back here with you. Hollywood Casino halftime report. St. Louis leads Reno 1868 FC. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. And Gary, it was a lot of St. Louis and a lot of St. Louis early and often in this one.
Good free kick coming in there from Lewis Hilton. Kadeem Dakers getting on the end of it. Thought he could have maybe done more. So close on that occasion. Lovely skills here from Kadeem Dakers, goalkeeper. Sinkowski, nice and comfortable for him. A lovely little bit of skill here. And again, St. Louis threatening early on, Sean, with most of the opportunities, putting pressure on. And this is a lovely ball. This is the goal when he turns. Fantastic turn from Carl Gregg. Ball in from number 77 there, Moritz. Turns, fantastic volley, and then goes and pulls his shirt over his head and gets a yellow card. Seriously, Carl? Kind of spoil a moment. Martz there, rather not Moritz. Martz there with the cross there. Look at that, shots for Reno on target 0, total shots 0. Not good enough. Doesn't matter about the possession, it's shots on target that count. St. Louis having had a much better first half in that score.
Certainly created more chances, and there you go as well. Shots on target 4-0 as well, though. Like we talked about, though, in the last time these two teams met, not exactly the same script in the first half, but Reno had the 1-0 lead before St. Louis came back. Reno will try to return the favor as the second half grows ever closer. The St. Louligans out in force. Look at those drums lighting up here in the dark skies in St. Louis. Still windy here at Toyota Stadium as the two sides are getting set for the start of the second half, as Anthony Pulis' side is in front at the moment. must have liked what he's seen from his squad in the first half. They completely dominated the game, at least as far as chances, and certainly chances on target.
Yeah, they certainly have, but that's just the first half. It's the second half, which, as you've mentioned, Reno much better in the second half. Certainly, St. Louis look at it and say, well, our home form is fantastic, 4-0-2. So we love playing at home, and we're 1-0 up already.
Second half now underway. Reno, as we talked about towards the end of the first half, have done most of their damage in the second half this season, and they will look to turn the tides on St. Louis as this second half gets underway. Early challenge there on the near side, and nothing given on that opportunity. Opportunity early. Reno looking to cross this ball into the 18-yard box. Good challenge there. Culbertson stepped in and will clear the lines for St. Louis.
A chance for St. Louis here just to get on the ball and get a feel for it. Slow things down and try and dominate and get that strength back. What they're so good at, St. Louis, is when they're in your half, they don't let you get out easily. So have a look here, green shirts push up, there's the high press, they don't allow you to play out, they make life very difficult for you.
Here's Sam Fink for St. Louis. Ball sent into the 18-yard box, headed down. Possibly an opportunity. Dequa finds Dakers. Here's Fall. Lofts it into the 18-yard box. Greg thought he was possibly held there.
He was appealing to the ref. But if you haven't got VAR, then it's very difficult to prove that. Overseas, they can do. But here, I'm afraid, Carl, unless you get kicked to the ground, you're not going to get a penalty for just being held.
Here's Reno at the other end, looking for Brown, gets his head to it. What a save! What a save on the right side of the goal by Tomas Gomez. First real chance going forward for Brian Brown. Here's another look.
That's fantastic header from Brown. What a good save from Tomas Gomez. And we said all along, if you give Brian Brown service, he will cause problems. And that's the first decent cross he's had in this entire match. You said second half, Reno are better. They're showing it already.
Kasipli will take the corner kick, far side for Reno. It's a good ball in, headed away. Brown will control and headed back to Kasipli. His service is deflected out. Another corner kick for Reno. Another Electro Savings corner kick on this far side. Kasipli lines it in there. Marie just aims it towards the box. Headed centrally in there by Zach Carroll. And a foul will allow St. Louis to clear their lines.
Isn't it amazing that some teams just happen to come to life in the second half? It's just their rhythm, the way they play. And maybe Reno are one of those teams who just sort of labor their way through the first half and then really spring into a second half. That's what it looks like already. And if that's the case, wow, are we in for a treat of a second half.
And a great stat there as well. 5 second half road goals conceded by Reno. That's the best in the USL. Just shows you their form on the road this season has been arguably as good as anybody, if not the best.
That's 5 goals in, what, 12 or 13 matches in the second half. That's all they've conceded. Wow, that is good. No wonder they're a hard team to beat on the road. Problem is they're 1-0 down, so they've got a lot of work to do, Reno, to get themselves back in this match. And Brian Brown would be, I would think, the man who can do it for them.
You mentioned this earlier, Gary, the chances that St. Louis had to maybe make it 2-0 in the first half, and certainly the way that Reno has come out at the start of the second half. Obviously, St. Louis still has plenty of time to grow back into this game, but they might be regretting a couple of those missed opportunities.
Yeah, you always do if you don't get the result. And they had chances. Kadeem Dakers had a couple of chances. Kyle Gregg, besides the one he scored. Even Sam Fink was in there. But it still was a decent first half. You're not going to score from every chance, obviously. Right. So to be 1 up at home is so far so good. But this is an excellent Reno side. And this job is way from done. If you're a St. Louis fan, stick around. Long way to go yet before you've got the 3 points in your back in the top 8. So a chance here for St. Louis just again to get a feel of the ball, knock it around, be comfortable, and try and look to get into that Reno half.
There were a couple of changes at the half that we did want to make you aware of. Brent Richards entered the game, number 16 for Reno, as Thomas Janjigian is out for Reno 1868 FC, and also Jerry Vanovac made way. Lindo Mafika is in now for Reno 1868 FC. So a couple of changes there for the road team.
Well, always a good thing if you want to get a whole different approach. You take a few players off.
And those substitutions were brought to you by G&W Meats.
It sends a signal to the rest of the team that the coach is not happy. I made a couple of subs. Let's see if you can improve the situation. In the first 5 minutes, I'd say the answer is absolutely yes. It's a much, much better looking Reno side who are pushing forward and seem intent on causing St. Louis a lot more problems than they did in the first half.
Reno controlling it again, about 6 minutes into the start of the second half. Kyle Gregg's goal is the difference at the moment. 1-0 to the home side. Again, looking for Brian Brown, who tried to shield it away from the St. Louis defender. Opportunity for St. Louis to break, and there's a foul in midfield, a collision in midfield, as Albert Dikwa tried to break through. Both players still down. I believe that might have been Jordan Murrell, who's on a yellow card, who's also down, and it is for Reno. And just wanted to mention that Dikwa could have been going forward on his own there. Will this be a second yellow possibly? They're trying to have a word with the referee about this.
The referee's got the yellow card out already in his hand. This could very well be, as you say, the second yellow. I'd like to see the incident again, but Dikwa flattened on the ground, so he looks like he's hurt. And if it is a second yellow, then they're down to 10 men for the second time in the 2 times they have met. Not good for Reno.
Jordan Murrell had a yellow card for a challenge on Kadeem Dakers in the first half. He is still down, I believe, on the pitch after that collision, and Albert Dikwa did have a chance to go forward. It is a second yellow confirmed, and Jordan Murrell has been sent off in the 53rd minute. For the second time these two teams have met, a Reno player has been sent off. And now the captain's armband has been given to Zach Carroll. Here's the challenge again, right on midfield.
Oh yes, he's left his left foot dangling. No question that was done on purpose. When you're on a yellow card, you can't do that, Burrell. You know you're going to get into trouble. There's no real argument. The first foul was a bad foul that got him a yellow. That one, you can't stick a left foot out. Get out the way. Let him run through. And he's paid the price. I agree with the referee. It's I'm going to say a soft yellow. It's not a dangerous tackle. It wasn't a nasty tackle from Morel, but he did put his left leg out and bring down Albert Dikwa, and you're ready on the yellow. So, tough times ahead for Reno. 1 goal down, 1 man down, away from home. Let's see what they can do now, but it's not going to be easy.
Talked about the last meeting between these two teams when it was Eric Cavillo who was sent off for Reno, and actually Reno scored later on in that same half. So
it was Brian Brown, well, he took a shot and it was a follow-up that got the goal. So it was a Brian Brown assist in that, if I remember correctly. Good shot from outside the box, but this is not easy. This is away from home now, and Morel, a crucial player for Reno. So what can the Reno players do? Can they turn this to their advantage and put in an extra effort? Sometimes when you're down to 10 men, it fires you up. You know, you're incensed, you're angry, you're annoyed, you know you've got one less player, and it can produce a good performance. Let's see what if it does or not.
Very interesting, especially considering the fact that Reno had just made 2 changes as well at halftime, and then of course you lose your captain in Jordan Murrell, who has been sent off with the 2 yellow cards. And certainly the hill just got a little bit steeper for Reno on the road. But if you look at the stats, if any team can do it on the road, it is probably Reno 1868 FC. But with a man down, we'll see how this team reacts. Coming forward with it was Lindo Mafeka, who was the substitute for Vanovac. And it'll be taken on the far side by the other substitute, Brent Richards. Ball fall. Kept his boot down on the second attempt, but might be called for that first high boot.
Yep, and just thinking that sending off a little message to Kyle Gregg, who's on a yellow. Don't you do anything silly, because the referee's a strong referee, which I respect and I like. He's an enforcer of the rules. And Kyle's already on a yellow, so he's got to really, really be careful.
There's the confirmation on our screen there. Reno down to 10 men, but on the attack here. Ball sent back, controlled. It's Duke Lacroix who sent it to the far side, controlled now.
It looks like Duke Lacroix has come back into that defensive role to replace Morel.
Going to send it forward for Brown, who got ahead to it. Simply headed it down. Marie now for Reno. Brown to aim at in the box. Didn't get past Sam Fink. Still an opportunity. The shot comes in and it goes over the bar. I believe that'll probably go down as the first shot for Reno in this game. Opano got a leg to it. And some pressure now from Reno, who are down to 10 men.
Oh, well, it's positive. That's what you've got to do. And, of course, the best chance they had was the Brian Brown header. But now they've got to defend.
These are the dangers with being down to 10 men, but offside is called on the near side as Albert Dikwa, who drew the foul that led to the second yellow that sent off Jordan Morel, thought for a moment that he might be in with Kadeem Dakers, by the way, making a run on the near side. He was wide open.
He was wide open. If that's not offside, that's an almost certain goal. So you're right, Reno throwing things forward now, but they're going to get caught in the counter as well. That's the risk they have to take. 1-0 down, one man down. There's going to be a few little gaps for St. Louis to exploit. And they're going to have to be super sharp at the back, Reno, to not be caught on the counter-attack.
And like you said, Duke Lacroix, who was going a little bit more forward to start this game, was more of a defender in the last match for Reno against Fresno, and now with Reno being down to 10 men, try to put one of your more reliable defenders, I guess, towards the back, just in case of a possible counterattack, as Reno do have to push some men forward here, trying to get back within and equalize from a goal down.
Well, they can do it if any team can. Reno have the players with the ability, but recent form hasn't been the best. They have to start remembering that glorious 16-match unbeaten run and try and bring back those glory days. And it certainly would be a great result if they could win from this position.
Good pass, shot comes in, good save by Gomez as Kasipli let fly.
A comfortable save for Gomez, but at least Kasipli having a try. And it's a good mindset. It changes the way you see things when you actually test the other goalkeeper. Gives you the confidence that you're creating opportunities. So a good effort there from Reno.
Ball sent forward. Nice little head flick towards Kadeem Dakers, who might take this on the first shot, and he blasts it over the bar. Thought about going for the spectacular on that near side, but just could not get even close to being on top of that ball on the first time effort. And Marcinkowski not even close to being bothered. He'll be able to clear the lines here for Reno. And if last game, if the last matchup between these two is any indication, we still have a long way to go in this one. Of course, St. Louis was the team that ended that magical run for Reno. And now they will get a corner on this near side. Another Electro Savings corner kick.
More organizing to do when you've got 10 men. There's always one missing, so you have to sacrifice a player somewhere, which means you have to rethink who picks up who stands at the near post, who's at the far post, which two players come out here to pick up these two. So there's a lot more thinking to do. You've got to really be on your toes when you're down to 10.
Ball sent in, near post, good flick on, what a save at the near post by JT Marcinkowski. Wall-Fall thought he just doubled the delight for St. Louis.
Oh, good effort there, good save from the keeper. Nice set piece and knocked in at the near post. And poor marking, which again we said is likely when you're down to 10 men. The keeper coming up trumps. Let's have a look at goal. Just missed it there, but well done to the keeper. That's when you need the keeper to keep you in the game.
There'll be another, well, this time actually a throw-in for St. Louis. It's a good throw-in towards Fall, headed away, not as far as Kadeem Dakers. Oh, a lovely move to get past there. Cross into the middle. Fall was in the area. It's cleared out by Reno. Brown chests it down, and that will be given right back to St. Louis. Fanuel Kavita picked off the pass. Culbertson looking to send it forward as Kasipli steps in for Reno 1868 FC. Olsen for looking for Hopino. Fall to Dequa. Here is Kadeem Dakers, who has made life difficult on the wing. That was deflected and just over the net. Bit of a fortunate, or rather bad luck deflection for Reno, but it goes out, and I believe that is another corner kick.
It is, and Kadeem Dakers, it takes a little bit too long to get the ball in the box. When it comes to your feet, you've got to whip it away early. You can't give the defender time to block him because he was in a great situation.
Another Electro Savings corner kick. Culbertson and Hilton over this. Culbertson whips it in, and that might be just too far, not quite too far. Headed lovely back in, and it's just over the net and out for a goal kick.
A little moment of worry there and concern for Marcinkowski, but the header just over his head and over the crossbar and not touched by anybody else, so it becomes a goal kick. But another set piece from St. Louis that is causing pressure for Reno. And their problem is they've got to get out of their half and start attacking St. Louis, and right now all they seem to have been doing the last few minutes is defending set pieces.
Ball sent forward by Marcinkowski. Brown able to win the challenge for Reno. Gets it back, little 1-2. Nice little spin out by Hopino. Hit the back of his teammate, gets it right back though. Challenge comes in, throw in for Reno. Fall apologizes, but cleared it out of play. Throw in for Reno on the far side. They'll have a defender come and take it.
Important for the Whites. Have a look at the number of shirts there, white and blue shirts in that half arena. They've got to use the advantage of having all their players in attack.
Brent Richards standing in front of the section with the same number as the one on his back. Throws it in. Wall-Fall heads it away. Controlled again by Reno. Run forward here. And it's cut out. Here comes St. Louis. Not a bad idea, looking for Greg. And it'll go all the way back to JT Marcinkowski.
Look at the match opening up now. Big spaces around the pitches. Reno have to throw things forward. They get caught in the counter-attack. There's space for Carl Gregg to play in. So the match opening up, which is good for the neutrals. It's going to be exciting end-to-end soccer all the way to the end of this game, I would think.
Hopino. It took a deflection, and it's out for a goal kick. He thought it was last off of a St. Louis player and is pleading his case to the assistant referee on the far side. To no avail.
Yep, quite right, to no avail. As upset as you might be, decision given, game moves on.
Really good game for that man right there, Tomas Gomez.
Matching gloves, light green gloves and boots. You can't miss him from anywhere, can you?
Made a couple of great saves with those gloves.
Especially the one from Brian Brown just after half-time. Fantastic. Down to his left, strong arm. That was a really, really good header from Brown. And the keeper keeping the clean sheet. By the way, of the 9 clean sheets St. Louis have, 7 have come at home. It shows you how much better they are defensively and as a team when they play at home.
Reno on the counterattack. Hopino again in the corner. Fink clears it out. Throw in for Reno this time. I think Hopino's like, finally, we get something, but bit of a stoppage. Center ref and the assistant ref were talking about something after the ball went out, and it looks like there will be a substitution for St. Louis. Looks like Austin Martz is going to make way. Austin Jepson will enter the game for St. Louis.
It was Austin Martz who set up the goal with a nice bit of play down that left-hand side in the first half. And got the ball, of course, to Kyle Gregg, who polished it off. I think Kyle Gregg just giving him an acknowledgement of how useful he's been in that first half, Austin Martz.
Substitution brought to you by G&W Meats.
Yeah, deserves the applause he's getting from the crowd, Austin Martz. Some fresh legs coming on, which, given that they have the extra man and now they've got some fresh legs, that could mean even more problems for Reno.
Roddy Jepson comes in. Voting runs throughout this weekend for the USL's monthly awards. Have your say in the votes for Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, and Save of the Month at uslsoccer.com. We've had a couple nominees for a few of those categories tonight. Tomas Gomez with a couple of great saves. JT Marcinkowski as well for Reno. And a really well-taken strike from Kyle Gregg. That separates the sides at the moment. Tony Walls got it to Dakers. For just joining us, Reno is down to 10 men. Jordan Morrell sent off for 2 yellow cards earlier in this half. Fifth time that it's happened for Reno this season. And in the previous 4, they're actually 2-2.
Wow.
Wins over Seattle and Las Vegas.
Well, this is St. Louis. They're, with all due respect to the other two, I think this is a slightly stronger team. And this is a real uphill battle for Reno. They can't get on the ball that easily. And they're getting caught on counter-attacks when they push forward. So, wow. It's interesting to see how many more risks Reno will take, because that's what it is. It's risk and reward here. Do you push forward more but get caught on the counter-attack? Do you keep it at 1-0 and wait for the last 10 minutes and have a go? Difficult one to figure out, and we'll see what happens.
And of course, one of those 2 losses was to St. Louis. In the last meeting, foul against St. Louis that time. I believe that was Dikwa who backtracked and committed the foul. Reno controls on the far side. Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on uslsoccer.com. Chance for St. Louis to counter. A lovely ball through to Kateem Dakers. Lovely ball into the middle, nobody quite there to get it, and Marie will be able to clear for Reno. Dikwa was lurking.
I think it took a little bit of a deflection playing it in there. Kadeem Dakers, in fairness to him, I think he was trying to pick out the men in the middle, but got a deflection on the way and it missed them all. But there again, that's the danger for Reno, the space that's available for St. Louis to play in. Do you give them that space? Do you take a risk and push players forward? What do you do? It's a difficult one. I would guess you take the risk. You know, if you're going to lose 1, well, you might as well lose 2 or 3. It makes no difference. You still lost the 3 points, but at least you have by going forward, you have a chance of getting back in the game.
Jepson hooking up with Culbertson, then the pass went away. Chested down, back to Jepson from Culbertson. Albert Dikwa looks to send it into the middle, just a little bit too far in front of Kyle Gregg. And it will go out on the far side for another Electro Savings corner kick.
More pressure from St. Louis. There's those flags and the fans, happy as can be. 1-0 up at home. 1 extra man, and Reno, I won't say on the ropes, but struggling to get into that St. Louis half and give themselves a chance of getting a goal back. So it's all looking good if you're a St. Louis fan.
Lewis Hilton, who's provided some good service on corner kicks tonight, will send this one in. Near post, Fall was there. Trying to backtrack. Opportunity maybe here for Reno. They don't have the numbers. Jepson was able to step in. Continuing the run and drawing the foul there moving forward. Lindo Mafeka at midfield, and He was trying to move on the counterattack. Here's the replay of that challenge.
Well, for just stretching and catching, definitely a foul, no question about that. I think the referee just saying, look, it wasn't bad enough to give you a yellow, but it's bad enough to give you a warning. So just be careful. Anything else, and you'll go into the book.
Looks like Corey Herzog is going to make an appearance here tonight as we enter the 71st minute of play. And it looks like the goal scorer, Kyle Gregg, is going to be the man who makes way.
Yeah, fantastic goal. Great first half, Kyle Gregg. And he's on a yellow. And what's more, Corey Herzog's a fantastic striker himself. So a sensible substitution to make. Job done. I'm sure Anthony Poulos will give him a handshake. So thank you very much for the goal. And now to see if Corey Herzog can get a second one and just kill the game off. That's what St. Louis won. Here's the goal again. Takes it with his left foot, thumps it with his right. Lovely finish from Kyle Gregg. And what's that? It's his 12th of the season. And he's right up there amongst the top goal scorers in the USL.
Another substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. Here's an opportunity for St. Louis. Kadeem Dakers, who's been threatening all night long. Far side. The shot comes in. Great save. Another great save by Marcinkowski. I believe that was Jepson who got the shot off. And it'll be another Electro Savings corner kick as St. Louis continue knocking on the door.
They are knocking on the door, but Marcinkowski's keeping them out for the moment. Good save from the keeper. And all the time he does that, he gives his team a chance of getting back on level terms. At one, it just takes one moment of inspiration. Oh, it's a good save from this angle. Really good left-hand save there. Fantastic. Well done to the keeper.
Fresh on, of course. Culbertson's in swinger, and it'll go out of play for a goal kick. Fink was lurking at the back post. So that's the last thing Reno fans want to see again, is another Sam Fink headed goal. He was lurking. More pressure from St. Louis. Marcinkowski just barely gets it away. The pressure from Corey Herzog.
Well, the fresh legs of Corey Herzog, able to sprint a lot quicker than probably Kyle Gregg was after the stint he put in today. And that's the benefit of having fresh legs. But certainly St. Louis looking the more likely to score. But that's not going to bother the Reno players, because they just need the one. Doesn't matter how many chances you get, as long as your keeper is playing well. And that's what worries Anthony Poulos. At 1-0, it looks good. They've dominated, but just takes one moment from the likes of Brian Brown, and the points could be shared.
St. Louis have it for now. Herzog, not a great touch. Hopino picks it off. Marie tried to clear it. It was blocked out for another throw-in for Reno. How well do you know the USL? Test your knowledge in USLsoccer.com's weekly picks competition every week, and you could win tickets to an upcoming USL game of your choice. Last time out for St. Louis, they did lose to Portland Timbers 2, and that was a goal conceded in stoppage time. So, and after we've already told you the history in the one previous meeting between these two teams, there's a foul against Kadeem Dakers. And it's drawn by Seth Kasipli, and this could be an opportunity to get it inside the 18-yard box for Reno. Still plenty of time to go.
Let's have a look at it here. Does he make... Oh, yes, he does. He gets it right down the side of his ankle. I'm sure he didn't mean to do it, but it's most certainly a foul. And as you say, a chance now for Reno to build some pressure. Now, you're in the St. Louis half. Put a decent cross in and then box them in and try and stop them from playing out of their own half.
Kasipli was over this as Dakers in the wall along with Jepson. They had to get back to that 10-yard marker. Ball comes in, back post opportunity. Fink headed it away. Still in the area though. Hopino with a shot. It's blocked. Still an opportunity, and finally St. Louis is able to clear it across midfield.
Wow, all hands to the pump there for St. Louis. Everybody trying to help out at the back. And eventually they do clear the danger, but a bit of hope there for Reno fans. The ball was bobbling around a little while, and for a moment you thought, oh, they're going to get on the end of it. Didn't happen. But at least it's more positive play from Reno.
That was sent back forward. Lindo Mafeka was caught, I believe, offside there. Walls thought it was a throw-in. It is not. It is a free kick for St. Louis, as Tomas Gomez is going to take as much time as he feels is necessary to get everybody forward. 15 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Kyle Gregg's goal in the first half has separated the sides. And of course, Reno are playing with only 10 men after Jordan Morel was sent off early in the second half. Kadeem Dakers is shoved to the ground, and at last a foul is called. Challenge coming in from Duke Lacroix, who wants an explanation.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took a while to call the foul. I mean, as he hits him and knocks him over, it's an immediate foul. Of course, what happens then is he's lying on the ground and he gets kicked, and it all gets a little bit out of hand, but they seem to have kissed and made up, so to speak. But here, have a look. He just gets bumped in the back. Yeah, to me, that's immediately a foul, and then all the little kicking and the other stuff follows. But the refereeing has been excellent, no question about it. Strong decisions made, and been very impressed with the USL referees. Very well organized, very quick to make decisions, and no dissent allowed. Not like in Europe where you got all these players screaming at the ref. They don't allow any dissent. They stop it as soon as it starts. I'm very impressed with that.
Now an opportunity for St. Louis. They take it short. That might have been miscommunication there. Player was trying to run onto it. An opportunity for Reno to counter here with Antoine Hopino. Waiting, looking for some numbers. Looks to switch fields, and nobody over there to run onto it for Reno, and the captain for St. Louis, Sam Fink, can reset.
Missed opportunity for Reno there. You get a breakaway like that, you've got to use it. You've got to at least, get some pressure on the goal. Bad pass, and now look at them. Now they're having to defend.
Jepson on the break for St. Louis. Dakers to aim at. Herzog to aim at, and neither of them get close to it. Brent Richards, the sub, tries to clear it. It's won back by Corey Herzog. Not a great clearance there at all by Reno. Herzog looking, being patient here. Lewis Hilton with some pressure, and it's won back by Reno. Good pressure there by Seth Kasipli. Here comes Reno 1868. Mafeka out wide. Couple of bodies to aim at. Works his way inside, right to wall fall. It falls for Marie for a second, and it's cleared out for a throw-in on the far side. Sam Fink had to get rid of it. And Paul Marie, who had a couple bright spots in the first half, finally making some way into the 18-yard box here in the second half on that far side.
It's an important time now for Reno with, what is it, just over 12 minutes left in the game. They've got a chance. They're on the edge of the box. What can they do?
And it comes headed away by Wall Fall. Looks like another Reno substitution is upcoming.
Good position again for Reno. Good ball in.
A St. Louis player slipped. Challenged by Culbertson. He gave it right back, and a late call there went out of play. It's a corner kick on the far side for Reno. Hopino will likely take it. Looks like Seth Kasipli is going to make way. And Mo Chow is going to come in for Reno.
Fresh legs. Got 11 and a half, 12 minutes to make a difference here. So that's what you want to see. A chance off the bench to be a hero and get back in the game for Reno.
Substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. Corner kick opportunity. Swung in near post. Brown didn't get the final touch. He did get a touch to it, and it's back out for another corner kick.
Good pressure here from Reno. The fans haven't had much to shout about in this match, but they won't mind if they can get a late equalizer.
Comes in. I believe it went right back out for another corner, and it did. Brian Brown tried to kind of dummy that all the way through, see if somebody could run onto it, and St. Louis had to clear it right back out. A third try. Into the box it goes. Gomez is there to corral it for St. Louis.
Well done to the goalkeeper, just to kill the pressure, calm everything down here, gets a pat in the back from his fellow defenders. The ball had a lot of height on it though. It sort of was asking for the keeper to come and fetch it, but it's taken all the pressure off St. Louis for the moment.
Ooh, that was a pretty good outlet ball down the field looking for Jepson, but Reno was able to cut it out. Almost led to an opportunity on the other end. This ball looking for Brian Brown, headed away in the midfield as Chow was able to get it back for Reno. Bad touch there, and St. Louis looked to come back with it. Dikwa to Dakers. Referee might come back to that challenge. Kadeem Dakers continues his run to Herzog, and St. Louis will control at the back. Reno still pressuring with a number of players forward. For the moment, though, St. Louis does a great job to pass their way out of it. Here's an opportunity with some numbers forward. Dikwa, centering pass. Opportunity, the shot is right at the goalkeeper. And I believe they might have been offsides there, not sure.
I didn't see it given. I think that Kadeem Dakers had a great chance there to have scored. Not quite sure what they're saying, what the debate is, but let's have a look. It's Albert Dikwa actually had the chance. Here it comes to Albert. That doesn't get much on it. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's saying no, it wasn't an offside. I'm confused.
The only reason I said it was because Marcinkowski just kind of kicked it away from around the spot after it happened, although he did kind of waste the chance going forward. Nobody from Reno went to the ball. He kicked down the field and went out for a St. Louis throw, and now he corrals it again, but it was taken so quickly that there was a little bit of confusion, it seemed at least.
It just shows you how difficult it is for Reno, because what a good counter-attack from St. Louis, nearly getting the second goal. And there's gaps at the back that they can exploit, but Reno have to push forward. Look at it again. Look at the amount of space they can play into St. Louis. It's too easy for them, but Reno don't have a choice. With 9 minutes left, they've got to push forward and take risks.
That time the ball in behind by Dikwa, looking for Dakers, cut out by Marcinkowski. Made a couple of big saves to keep Reno within striking distance in this second half.
He certainly has. A goalkeeper has almost been man of the match for Reno, I would think, in terms of keeping them in the game and giving them a chance to still get something out of this if they can score in the last 8 minutes.
It's Bafeka who switched fields. Marie cutting inside here. Ball will be sent all the way back. Reno playing down to 10 men for a good portion of this second half. Guy Abend. Reno looking for an equalizer. Haven't been shut out since all the way back in May.
Well, this is the team to do it, St. Louis. They're at home. They're virtually indestructible. They give little away. They've got a solid keeper at the back, good back four, and they catch you on the counter, which makes life very difficult because you can't throw too many bodies forward.
A lot of bodies around Brian Brown. Marie tried to poke it away from Jepson. Here's an opportunity to come forward with it for St. Louis. It is Dakers centering pass. Opportunity for Albert Dikwa. He shoots, and it's over the net. And it was saved by Marcinkowski yet again. And it will go out for an Electro Savings corner kick.
Yeah, Dikwa's wondering what he has to do to score here tonight. The goalkeeper with yet another save. Marcinkowski has been absolutely superb in this match. He's had to save them from close, from far, from deflections, from everything. Had an excellent match. And still keeping his team in with a chance of getting something out of this game.
Once again, it will be Lewis Hilton and Kyle Culbertson. We're in the final 6 minutes plus stoppage time. Ball comes in. I believe ball fall was in there. Not quite kept around by the keeper, but Marcinkowski falls onto it. And there also might have been a foul call in there, and Reno will be able to clear their lines. Again, JT Marcinkowski coming up with some big plays. Almost fumbled that away, though, but fell on top of it just after a foul was called.
A difficult one for the keepers, coming over a lot of heads. Sometimes you can't see the ball. Sometimes you have to punch it because you're not 100% sure. So he does well to react and get the rebound. That's all that's important. Now, minutes ticking off the clock. Can Reno get that crucial breakthrough, or St. Louis going to hold on for these valuable 3 points?
Duke Lacroix out wide for Paul Marie. Puts the ball in. Chance. Fink headed it down. Hopino still has it for Reno. Back to Marie, near side. Tries to get around the defender. And a good job by St. Louis. Sent forward. Jepson with the ball forward, looking for Kadeem Dakers on the far side. He backtracks to keep St. Louis in possession. Under 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Kyle Gregg's goal in the first half is the difference. Reno trying to equalize. They're down to 10 men after Jordan Morrell was sent off for a second yellow card. Near side for Tony Walls. The pass was picked out and picked off by Zach Carroll. Ball played in behind, headed back towards the keeper dangerously. Dequa was on it in a flash, but Marcinkowski again able to bail his team out.
Risky play at the back there by Reno, but they don't have a choice. They're leaving one-on-one situations in defense because they've got to push forward and get this breakthrough.
They're continuing to push forward. That is going to be out for a Reno throw-in. Hopino, who has to stretch out a little bit after winning the throw-in.
Tight calf muscle there, but I don't think there's any subs left, are there? 3 subs that they made, so he's got to stay on whether he likes it or not.
Reno sending players forward here. Headed towards the net and over the net. Goal kick for St. Louis. Got to give Reno credit. Down to 10 men. We do know how good they've been on the road. It would only be their second loss on the road if they were to lose this game, but I think Ian Russell's got to be pretty satisfied, at least with the effort and still going forward in this second half. Obviously have not been able to find an equalizer. That's been the most disappointing part.
It does put them under a little bit of pressure because with a win here, St. Louis go level with Reno, just above San Antonio. I'm assuming San Antonio aren't playing tonight or haven't played yet, so we don't know what their result is. But St. Louis are level with Reno. And in fact, San Antonio 3-1 up against Phoenix Rising. Wow, there's a shock. So the way it stands, Reno could very well, depending on goal difference, I think their goal difference is big enough to just stay above St. Louis, but they're neck and neck. So this is a massive result and a problematic result from Reno, who have had, what, 1 win in the last 6, becomes 1 win in the last 7. So crisis time for Reno, and St. Louis right on the cusp of getting back in the top 8.
As well as Reno have played on the road, you don't always want to rely on having to pick it back up on the road and get a result. Obviously protecting home field is so important. That's exactly what St. Louis have done so far through now 88 minutes. But having to rely on getting road results is not the best way, I guess you could say. No. Especially against a team that's been so good at home all season long.
Absolutely not. Anthony Pulis now delighted that this result, or this score, is likely to be a result. But for Reno, their fans must be going back to that 60-match unbeaten run and think, how do we get that back? What do we have to do? What switch do we have to turn on? Because it would be such a disaster for Reno if after that run, they don't make the top 8. And that is becoming a real possibility. It's going to be an exciting last few games with, heading for the playoffs.
So there, Coach Pulis not exactly thrilled with Kadeem Dakers getting a little fancy there, hit it out of play. Reno had the throw-in, and now they've given away a free kick. Challenge from Mo Chow. And St. Louis will have a free kick as they try to take some more time off the clock. Kyle Gregg's goal separates the sides. It was a lovely taken turn and volley.
Kyle Gregg's excellent goal. That's how we're going to describe it. It was a fantastic finish, and he really was a threat in that first half. So I think if you look at the entire game, and we had a look at the shots on target at halftime, it's been all St. Louis. And I don't think Reno fans could have too much to say. Their goalkeeper's been man of the match, Marcinkowski, for me. he's kept them in it. So while there's still hope, if the result stands, I think most people would say it's pretty much a fair result.
Coming down on the final minute before stoppage time. Told it's probably going to be about 3 minutes. Picked off here by Adi Jepsen. Greg's goal came back in the 27th minute. Reno will get it back on that miscued pass. Jordan Morel was sent off in the 54th minute of this game. There's the confirmation of the 3 added minutes for Reno to try to find an equalizer. They've been down to 10 men for just about a little under 40 minutes in this second half.
Yeah, it was a clumsy second yellow for Morel. In fact, it was a clumsy first yellow. And you don't want to be on the first yellow, but having got yourself in that situation, you know you cannot bring anybody down. You've got to be so careful. In the clumsy second, he gets sent off, and he puts his team in such a difficult position.
Change up coming for St. Louis. Sean Reynolds is the player that will come on. Reno just trying anything to get it out of the St. Louis, or rather out of their own final third. And a foul, a yellow card.
For booting the ball clear and time wasting.
And it will be on Kyle Culbertson for, like you said, Gary, time wasting, trying to boot it forward. Second player to be put into the book for St. Louis. Here's the confirmation of the change. Albert Dikwa is going to be the man that makes way for Sean Reynolds. And certainly a good game for Dikwa as well, as he takes his time.
Yeah, good player. The referee's just making sure he gets off at a decent speed. But yeah, very impressed with Albert Dikwa, the Cameroonian, 6'2". He's good in the air, he's quick on the ground, and him and Kyle Gregg makes such a fantastic combination. I think you can spice it up. You can bring on Corey Herzog and Sean Reynolds and other options for you. So certainly Anthony Pulis there must be delighted with what he has in attack, and his team now virtually back in the top 8, and some crucial matches. They're going to decide whether they stay up in the top 8 or not, and the same for Reno now. They're in the same number of points, same situation. Wow, what an end to the season we're going to have with these playoffs.
Reno not giving up, though. Final minute of the stoppage time. St. Louis able to clear it. That last sub was brought to you by G&W Meats. Out of play on the far side. Game also important for St. Louis, realizing how difficult their schedule is remaining this season. As far as average in place in the standings and in points, they have the toughest schedule remaining in the Western Conference, and are the only team that plays the top 2 teams still in the West, Real Monarchs and Phoenix Rising FC.
Good luck with that. And they play them away as well, don't they?
Very difficult games upcoming. Just shows you how important this would be to get all 3 points. Not quite done yet. In behind, Marie punched out of there by Tomas Gomez, who continues to make big plays in the net for St. Louis.
Yeah, well done, the goalkeeper. Brave, strong, decisive at a crucial time in the match, and comes and gets his team out of a bit of trouble as Reno push to try and get the late equalizer.
This might be the last chance for Reno. Trying to get it back into the box here. Mafeka passed it back. Richards into the 18-yard box, headed away by St. Louis. Dakers is going to run off with it. Chance to counter here. This could be the chance for St. Louis to confirm it. A great crossing pass. Herzog could finish the job. It's deflected and headed off the line. Saved by Marcinkowski.
Off the line header. All the drama in the final minutes there. Corey Herzog with a chance to put the game to bed, but it almost is over as it stands.
Headed out by Culbertson. Time wasting might allow for one more chance for Reno. Anything to get it into the 18-yard box for one last chance. Gotta hurry. They don't have that much time left. Marie into the box. It goes right to Tomas Gomez.
Well, that should be it now. Tomas Gomez is lying there, running down the clock. And well done to Reno for at least having a try at the end there. They've been positive, down to 10 men. It's been difficult. St. Louis have been well organized and better on their counter. Anthony Pulis complaining about the extra time being played, not happy with that at all. but they got the result.
That's the confirmation. St. Louis defeats Reno yet again. They get the season sweep. And look at Tomas Gomez. He is fired up. Kyle Gregg's goal in the 27th minute is the difference. Huge saves from Tomas Gomez to keep the result and get the result for St. Louis, who, Gary, are right back in the mix in the top 8.
They certainly are, and their goalkeeper there, Tomas Gomez, played really well. Sam Fink coming back into the team was massive, and Kyle Gregg and Albert Dikwa up front, wonderful. So this St. Louis team, as we look at the goal again, one set up by Austin Martz, fantastic turn and volley by Kyle Gregg. They're looking good, St. Louis.
What a win. St. Louis right back in the mix in the USL.
The best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees.
There's really only one place where the carpets are always red and the stars are everywhere you look. There's no place like Hollywood. Hollywood Casino St. Louis.
A lottery ticket is so much more than a piece of paper. It's wonder, opportunity, dreams. And not just for players. 100% of the profits from every Missouri lottery ticket you play goes back to schools, teachers, and students. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery.
At Toyota, safety isn't an option, it's standard. So features like lane departure alert and pre-collision system are always included on every single Toyota RAV4. To get similar features on a CR-V, Honda charges over $2,000. They shouldn't, we don't. Tested, trusted Toyota. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan plus roadside assistance. Hurry in today. Find your Toyota at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Sean St. Jacques and former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey back here with you. The final score here at Toyota Stadium, St. Louis 1, Reno 1868 FC 0. It's the Edward Jones post-game report. Here, Kyle Gregg with the game-winning goal. Let's take a look at the highlights from this one, Gary. And really in the first half, St. Louis lived up to the billing. They've been so good in the first half all season long, and their pressure leads to the only goal of the match.
Austin Martz with a fantastic cross, but what a turn and what a volley from Kyle Gregg. Absolutely brilliant. Look at the pace here of Martz. Fantastic pace, gets the ball into the danger area. First touch, stunning, and the volley, top class there from Kyle Gregg. His 12th of the season.
It was a really good start for St. Louis. Reno was able to grow back into this game, and they had a number of chances.
Oh, absolutely. That was a wonderful, wonderful header there from Brian Brown. But what a save from Gomez in goals. Fantastic left arm and gets it away from danger.
That was the big moment in the second half. A second yellow card. Jordan Morel was sent off in the 54th minute for denying an opportunity for Albert Dikwa, and St. Louis really turned it on from there. But Marcinkowski made some big saves to keep Reno alive in this.
Yeah, Kyle Gregg at the near post with a flick on there, and the keeper very, very sharp, as he was with this one here. Strong left arm. Look at it from behind. You'll see how good it is. Left arm comes out, just gets a fingertip. That's an awesome save. Possibly down for one of the saves of the month.
And more big saves there from JT Marcinkowski. Came off a career-high 7 saves against Fresno. And here are the full-time stats here. And it was just as dominant in the end, especially with shots and shots on target, 8-2 in favor of St. Louis.
Yeah, that's a crucial stat. For me, St. Louis, way more opportunities that counted. And the goalkeeper, Marcinkowski, was absolutely brilliant. Man of the match for Reno. And, of course, the red card didn't help Reno. That was a silly second yellow there from Morel. So, all said and done, fantastic day at the office for St. Louis at home. And Reno's incredible away record takes a little bit of a dent. And it's all on both teams level points in that sort of joint 8th position. It's going to be an exciting end to the season.
First time Reno's been shut out since May 5th. It's the 10th clean sheet of the season for St. Louis. They're 8th at home. And just the second road loss for Reno in now 15 matches on the road this season. There's the hero, Kyle Gregg, scored the goal in the 27th minute. St. Louis not quite in the top 8, but get a huge result here tonight. We take one last look at this goal, and he really had a great night, as did St. Louis.
What a volley, what a first touch with the left foot. This is a good run here, ball comes in from Marks, but have a look at the left foot touch, sets it up, right foot, whack, back of the net. 1-0, thank you, St. Louis.
What a win for St. Louis, though, right back in the mix in the playoff race in the USL.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer